Seconds away from another playoff overtime in DC, the return of a captain to aid a team at their time of need, and the power of harmonicas reigning strong in Los Angeles. Day 5 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs has one less game on the slate, but the intrigue keeps on piling up. If Game 1 going to overtime was surprisingly close enough, you'd be amazed to see how the top team in the East came close to playing another overtime game against the Canadiens. Literally almost an exact carbon copy of the first game, where the two games at Capital One Arena had the same plot, the same story, but almost the same result. I said almost because it ended in regulation. The only twist here is that Montreal actually scored earlier. Much earlier. And it wasn't for their core four. Their middle six opened the scoring. Of all people, it was Christian Dvorak out of a net front scramble after the initial shot from Brendan Gallagher. And both Dvorak and Josh Anderson were at the front of the net, though Dvorak won the puck race up front, sweeping a loose puck under Logan Thompson's pad. That was a sour start for Thompson, but he'll recover quickly when he robbed Emil Heineman seconds later to prevent a 2-goal lead for the Habs. Washington also dominated play for the first 40 seconds of the game, controlled 65% of expected goals, 16 scoring chances, 9 identity chances in the second period alone, but they managed just 2 goals. Connor McMichael ties it up by grabbing his own rebound, and his centering attempt went off of David Savard's leg and in the net. Then exactly a minute later, tick-tack-kaboom, Ryan Leonard to Anthony Beauvillier to a wide open Dylan Strome in the slot, banks his own rebound in. Washington gets the lead. With that, Leonard became the youngest Caps player to record a playoff point since Andrei Burakovsky in the 2015 Eastern Conference semifinals against the Rangers. Leonard's been confident with the puck and imposed his will physically. He's been protected by Spencer Carberry and his staff in zone starts, but he's excelled at every opportunity. He has top percentages in shot attempts, expected goals, scoring chances, and high danger chances. And while the Caps control play for the first 40 minutes, they lift their foot off the gas pedal in the final frame, where the Habs want to repeat their Game 1 magic in this frame. After outshooting the Habs 18-8 in the second period, Montreal outshot them 14-5 in the third, outchanced them 30-14, and owned 78.8% of the expected goals. But no such goal scoring would come as Thompson stole the show. He was magnificent, stopping 25-26, 1.89 goals above expected. He has a flair for the dramatic, and he saved his best hockey for last. A sprawling save on Jake Evans actually wasn't. It hit the post and not his glove. One of his biggest highlights was a stick save on a deflection by Dvorak. One of the rare odd man rush chances for the Caps in the third was a 3-on-1 in which Andrew Mangiapane came up it, though Rasmus Sandin swung and missed on the rebound. Washington's defense did the rest, and McMichael sealed the deal with an empty netter. The flurry of shots put everyone on the Caps at the edge of their seats, but with time, Thompson got more confident. Even Pierre-Luc Dubois had just 2 words for his game. Oh God. The impact Thompson provides is beyond theatrics. Dubois points towards the elements of his game that are crucial to team success. With the way he's bouncing back, he is playing like he never was injured. He's back, better than ever, with a .951 save percentage, second to just Freddie Anderson. Let's recap his journey. Was not satisfied with the Vegas Golden Knights and had bad experiences with Bruce Cassidy. He played 4 games in last year's first round series before Cassidy turned to Adin Hill for the rest of the series. Thompson showed exactly his worth with the Caps and that he was ready to go from the start. He's making the most of this opportunity after he won out of Vegas. An unsung hero from this game is Alex Alexeyev. Martin Ferazzi was ruled out for the remainder of the playoffs after undergoing knee surgery. Alexeyev was put into the lineup after not playing the vast majority of the season and losing several teeth to a high stick. He played 28-13 of 5-on-5 ice time through 2 games, and that span the Caps have seen 58.4% of shot attempts, 74.4% of expected goals, 60.4% of scoring chances, and 81.4% of high danger chances. The Caps also outscored the Habs 2-0 with him on the ice. All around nice stuff for the Caps for 2 games. This game is blessed. Gabriel Landeskog is back. For the first time in 2 years and 10 months, he is playing an NHL game, and he deservedly got the loudest cheers from the Denver crowd. And his impact was immediate and noticeable. He put on 6 hits, a block, and made his impact as the captain of the team. Crowd got roaring when he delivered a hit on Mikko Rantanen. The last time Landy was on the ice, the two were teammates. Crowd was fired up when he made that hit. Do remember that the Avs are without Ross Colton because he suffered an injury in Game 1. Miles Wood filled his place in Game 2, and he was decent up until his turnover that led to the Colin Blackwell overtime winner. Landy is not just a feel-good story at the playoffs, but it also means everything not just for Colorado, but for hockey. He missed 1,032 days of NHL action, the first such occurrence for an NHL team captain in this century. The last 2 times it happened, Sil Apps and Sid Abel were serving in World War II. This journey is so inspiring. Everything about it. From the road to recovery, the reaction from the fans, his post-game press conference talking about his kids don't even believe he was a hockey player. All of it is so inspiring. This comeback story was spent literally all by himself. It's lonely being on the LTIR. You don't spend a lot of time with your team, but he still played an important role as the team captain. Not just participating in practice or morning skate, but also think about how this team had 10 players that were not on the opening night roster. He was the presence that welcomed the new Avs players and made them feel at home. And for the third time in the series, Colorado strikes first with Valeri Nichushkin. He skated around the left circle, moving around a pick set by Brock Nelson, and right into the slot where nobody was at, sliding the puck past Jake Ottinger's right skate. By the way, Nichushkin should not be playing in the NHL right now after that. Everything was going towards Colorado's way. It was perfect. The Avalanche had the lead in the first period. They controlled their destiny. They're going to roll on their way to a scoreless second period. Really? You don't put the pucks on the net. And fans are shouting, "Shoot!" endlessly. The Avs are not taking their chances. The 1-0 lead wasn't because of the onslaught chances. That goal was Colorado's best look in regulation. Player errors cost the Avs game 2. Execution errors are what cost them this game. In games like these, there is little room for error, especially on the power play. A group that went 2 for 7 in the first 2 games can't find the back of the net on 6 tries in game 3. They couldn't convert on their breakouts or their entries, and were hesitant to shoot. And even if they shot it, nobody could get to the front of the net. When your best line so far in this series is the 4th line, there are issues. That 4th line is consistent, smart, working hard to every puck. Logan O'Connor is first to every puck and fights his way to get him. This line's gritty and shows their determination. Where's that from everyone else? The top 6 needs more of a shoot first mentality, more net front chances. That also means Nathan MacKinnon and Kel Makar have to start using their speed to drive to the net and not just pull up to the zone. And you can't go 0 for 6 on the man advantage. Jonathan Drouin isn't fitting into the top unit, and Arturi Lehkonen isn't finishing, especially with a 4-minute power play to end regulation and start overtime without finding the back of the net. Lehkonen got very close to netting the OT winner, but that was the closest the Avs got to winning. Yes, I said overtime because Jamie Benn deflected a point shot from Thomas Harley on the power play past Mackenzie Blackwood's glove to tie the game up. Yes, that was a controversial penalty, but you cannot keep giving chances to your opposition. Don't give your opponents any chance at signs of life. These adjustments are all the things that the Avs can control, but they cannot stand pat and be complacent, because next thing you know, Mason Marchment comes speeding down the far side of the ice and feeds Tyler Seguin, who snipes one short side over Blackwood's shoulder. Game over. The Dallas Stars have led for just 62 seconds of this series, while Colorado's led for over 90 minutes. Dallas is 5-25 all season long when they were trailing entering the 3rd period, and they're up 2 games to 1 in this series. Officiating may or may not decide a series, but the refs are not the reason the Avs fell apart or why the Stars ran them over. I did note Lehkonen almost had the OT winner, because a huge block from Esa Lindell kept the game not at an OT. And a shout out to Jamie Benn, by the way. He went 19 games without a goal dating back to March 8th. But his game-tying goal was the momentum the Stars needed to get back in this game. Look, he's out a down year, but that goal was vintage Jamie Benn, the game in which the depth forwards step up. And Mikko Rantanen finally gets his first point of the series on the Seguin OT winner. The goalies were amazing, and they've been one of the highlights of this series. Mackenzie Blackwood weathered the storm when Dallas had a 14-5 shot advantage in the first. Jake Ottinger countered in the latter 2 regulation periods and during the 4-minute penalty kill. They made life difficult throughout this series. There are still question marks on Dallas's behalf. Are they still able to compete for the Stanley Cup? Are there too many holes in the defense? How effective will Miro Hayes going to be when he comes back? And after tonight, Are they turning the corner at the right time? You're not supposed to lose game 1 8 times in a row, or take penalties at the end of a tied game in the playoffs and start overtime on the PK, let alone twice in a row. And you're not supposed to be up 2-1 in a series where you've led just 62 seconds. But if you're a Stars fan, you have to be feeling good. And if you're an Avs fan, you have to be feeling a little nervous. The Avs took advantage of the injuries to the Stars lineup in game 1, but played like a lower seed in the next 2 games. Dallas has the advantage on depth, and they may still have energy when OT comes along. The good news for the Avs is that they're staying home, and they can recover physically from back-to-back overtime games. But Miro Heiskanen in Denver, you know. Who would have known that the one way for the Kings to counter McDry in the playoffs is with harmonicas? The best defense and goaltending they've seen in their current era is one thing, but this team needs the final piece. The Koreatown Senior Community Center putting on a blast of the national anthems with harmonicas. But this game started out similarly to game 1. Kings jump out quickly and take a 3-0 lead this time. The Oilers wanted to send a message and fired a barrage. What message? The only message was Warren Foegele speeding into the zone and centered a pass to a charging Brent Clark, who came to the crease. But it's 1-0 after 1. The Oilers are not going to let the Kings have Quinton Byfield take the puck off the sideboards to cut to the right circle to lift a shot over Stuart Skinner to start the second. But they're down 2-0. The Oilers trailed game 1 by 2 after 1 period. Certainly Andrei Kuzmenko won't get a rebound at the end boards to fire at an open net. Wait, he did? Damn it. Darcy Kemper is playing lights out. He's giving the Kings a renowned sense of belief that they can finally slay their playoff demons. LA is getting everything towards their favor on special teams. The Oilers are powerless to stop the power play. Oh, Eric Cartman is making appearances on the Jumbotron like he normally does for Kings home games. Leon Draisaitl can have all the deflection goals he wants, no matter who fires the shot. This John Klingberg fella is still in the league after being a resident of Robida Island for a year and a half. Whatever, it's Chris Paul hitting a huge three to cut the lead to 1. Oh, Kings, are you doing this again? You better not go this way, especially after allowing the Oilers' depth players to tip in shots to the point. Now, Victor Arvidsson had a down year. Don't let them tie this game after what happened last time. Oh, thank goodness. Even when being many miles or kilometers up north, Arvidsson is still helping the Kings. Sarcasm, by the way, because he fumbled a pass and Anze Kopitar locates a streaking Adrian Kempe, who takes full advantage. Kopitar even pushed to a 5-2 lead on a great passing sequence, with Kevin Fiala sending it from the right circle to the left to chase Stuart Skinner out of the net. Even Calvin Pickard wasn't safe, as Kempe beat him short side on a wrister. There would be no comeback attempt. The Kings kept punching the Oilers in the mouth. Again, and again, and again. Fatality. In last year's playoff series, the Kings couldn't elevate their games, but Kempe was not one of those who didn't elevate his game. And to no surprise, he did it again. Games tighten up in the playoffs, and intensity rises. Goal scoring becomes harder, and time and space are significantly reduced. But Kempe scored a higher pace in the playoffs this year than the regular season. Yes, it's a small sample size, but nearly doubling your goal total in the postseason is nice work. The irony is that the Oilers controlled the pace in the first period of both games. They led 12-10 in scoring chances at 5-on-5, but that's sliced to 15-10 Kings in the second period of both games. So unlike Game 1, Game 2 was the Kings' statement. The Oilers can have a McDry. The Kings will have the power at the 1-2-2 neutral zone approach and the harmonicas on their side. Away with the 1-3-1 neutral zone trap. That defensive strategy leaves speed and puck control that can burn the setup. With the 1-2-2, that accounts for shutting down speed-based attacks. When McDavid builds up speed, a forward sticks onto his back and harasses him in the neutral zone. As soon as he reaches the blue line, the defender steps up and forces him to dump the puck. If that happens, set a pick. The box setup at the 1-2-2 can be maneuvered through. The speed-based attack against the 1-2-2 neutral zone approach is a chess match. If McDavid can build up speed and avoid getting hunted down by the guy behind him, the Oilers win the chess match. If they can get someone behind him, the Kings that is, then LA wins it. If there's a slower forward out there, for instance Anze Kopitar, that forward can attack McDavid in the offensive zone to prevent him from building up his speed. Games like these for the Kings don't happen all the time, but this was a very drastic shift of momentum for them. They allowed 6 high danger chances in Game 1, but limited them to just 2 in Game 2. Work ethic and tenacity, both with and without the puck, got them to the win. This series is far from over. Connor McDavid was held on a point in this match, and there was only one time in which he was held without a point in consecutive playoff games. Games 6 and 7 of last year's Stanley Cup Final. But there is little room for error now. because they need to win 4 of their next 5. It's not helping that special teams has been a complete disaster for the Oilers. 0 for 5 on the power play, while the Kings have scored 5 of 10 on the man advantage. While we don't expect the Oilers PK to match the historically elite numbers they put up from last year, where they gave up just 4 power play goals on 70 attempts, this year's Oilers PK gave up 5 power play goals on 10 attempts. They can't even keep pucks out the net when they're shorthanded. But at the first thought to blame Stuart Skinner, he's not the only issue on the team. He's not only costing the Oilers, the defense in front of him is too. Both things are true. John Klingberg, at this stage of his career, is an offense-first traffic cone. Jake Wallman is playing visibly injured. Matthias Ekholm is not available for the series because of injury. If the Oilers were to turn the tide, they could go for a combination of Wallman with Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse with Ty Emberson, and Brett Kulak with Klingberg. Even for Skinner not being a reliable goalie, he's the only legit option that Edmonton can go for game 3. That is not saying much. The bad news is that the stats are where they are. He's given up 6 goals on 58 shots for a 611 GAA and an 810 save percentage. It's impossible to win the NHL with those numbers. The Oilers have been terrible defensively in the McDry era, and that's a common theme. Not only have they lost in their own end, but they're coughing up the puck way too much like they have tuberculosis. If they can't figure out a way to play smarter in their own end, their results are not going to be any different. Goaltending is bad, but the plays that happened before that are just as bad. And at the middle of the ice, they're losing those battles too. The second line of Evander Kane, who made a season debut, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman had moments, and McDavid can control the pace regardless of wingers, but Adam Henrique cannot play center anymore. When you have Corey Perry on the top line, a 40-year-old Corey Perry, by the way, you are in trouble. The whole team needs to be smarter with the puck. Otherwise, this series is over.